you are feeling hungry. I want you to just start imagining, because we are working on the subconscious now. So I want you to start imagining that you are feeling hungry and you want something to eat. But rather than eating, the system, the people, the environment, or the situations is telling you, don't eat, just listen to the music. Feeling hungry? I want to eat. They say, no, listen to the music. For how long will you listen to the music?
Not long.
Not at all, isn't it? First let me eat, then only I go for anything, isn't it? Then they say, no, let's go out and play, don't eat. I'm hungry, feed me first, then I'll do anything and everything. This is what happens. We are very much aware of physical hunger because it is having a very intense stimuli. Similarly, we have layers of hungers that we look into. So taking the basic framework, applying it to these areas, and ingredients, process, steps, that's what we are going to look into. So this is what we are looking into, understanding the potential to rewire. When I say it's a potential to rewire, I want you to acknowledge that no matter what your yesterday is creating for you today, let's say whatever is happening today, it's a result of my decisions, my choices, my actions which I took yesterday, let's say. But there is a potential of making a different choice, a different decision, a different action to create a different tomorrow. The whole process goes through whatever I have learned, I will acknowledge it, that this is serving me, this is not serving me. If required, I will unlearn the things, I will relearn the things that will serve me, that adds value to me. In psychology and psychotherapy, we have different tools and elements that we integrate, which includes neuroplasticity and hypnotherapy. In the coming sessions, I will be teaching you a quick hypnotherapeutic exercise that you can do for yourself to eliminate everything that is disturbing you, that is not adding value to you, and elements that are adding value to you. It's just like a software. Now we are very much aware of installation, uninstallation, and applications. So let's say this body is a hardware, and our emotions, our thinkings, our fears, worries, and ABC, XYZ, they are all softwares, applications, let's say, plugins, let's say. So if those applications, plugins are not working properly, then the whole system goes boom. What do we do generally? We insert the antivirus so that it removes the virus. If that doesn't work, then we'll format the whole system. That is possible through the whole psychotherapeutic and hypnotherapeutic frameworks, where we try to remove the virus. If it doesn't happen, if required, we format the whole system. That's a possibility. It depends on the intensity of the disturbances. The first step is all about I don't know what I don't know. And I don't even know what is creating pain. I have pain for sure. Emotional pain, physical pain, whatever pain is there. But absolutely, I don't know why that pain is. I don't know what needs to happen. I don't even know what I need to learn. That's a zone of ignorance. But some of the time, again, because of a certain Western philosophy, ignorance is bliss. We try to stay in that zone of ignorance. We say, okay, let me stay here. It's a very comfort zone. It's a happy zone. I don't have to put any effort. Let me simply be in that zone. So that's the zone of ignorance. So the next zone is all about awareness. That's where you hit that. You say, okay, I'm aware of my past painful memory, my behavioral pattern, my upbringing. Most of the things I'll discuss, which will literally create disturbances as you are growing up. Due to parenting issues or teachers or environment or however you were brought up. That creates different behavioral patterns in us. That behavioral patterns, once you are aware, it's just like, oh, I know the ingredients now. I know where to integrate, where to place it, how to remove it, how to simply make it flow. After the awareness comes the whole journey of learning. Learning is all about, again, integrating tools, changing certain things in your life which is not adding value to you, and installing certain things in your life which should add value to you. Most of the time, the only hindrance in this journey is resistance. You will resist. And that resistance is also having references. So I want you to note down all these words. Resistance, references, experiential reality, my truths. So all these things are there, which creates that reference in our mind. No, I have seen this in my life. I have experienced this. How can it be wrong? I have been through this ABC, XYZ. This cannot be wrong. So I should follow this. This is the right thing. This is how it happens. This is how life happens. Most of the time, you give a big label that this is what life is all about. This is what life is, this is how it happens. Even though you are in pain, emotional pain, let's say, you simply settle down with, this is how it happens. I literally, in a month on an average, I see 300 people if I see individuals. If I see groups, then I see more people. 80% of the people I see going through the same pattern. This is how it happens. This is how life is, isn't it? I always very humbly tell them, no, this is not life. Because you are in emotional pain. God didn't send you here to simply go through pain. That's a basic framework. We'll discuss all those things, yeah? So the next zone is all about learning. This is where the change, the process will happen. I'll add all those small tools for you, which you can practice on daily basis, so that you change or gradually change and add more and more value to yourself. Then consistency. Consistency is one of the ingredients. So if we are talking about ingredients, consistency is one of those ingredients. Most important. Whatever you are doing, you do it consistently. So that consistency, sorry?
I say it's the most difficult for me.
I understand. And when you say it's difficult, let's note this point. Difficult, let's say. I want you to literally draw a line, 2 columns, and literally in 1 column, I want you to write ingredients. In ingredients, let's say the first word is consistency. And on the other column, I want you to write hindrances. Hinder. What hinders? What stops? What blocks? And what blocks is my internal dialogue which says it's difficult. It's a dialogue, it's a learned mechanism, isn't it? You have learned.
It's not possible.
Sorry?
I can't do it, it's not possible.
Yes. It's an internal dialogue.
Yeah.
It's an internal dialogue which you have learned. Which you have learned by having references in life. And if I ask you in details, you will give me references why it is difficult. So we have references in our mind, which is giving us that internal dialogue that it's very difficult. But let me tell you right here, as we are discussing about difficult and all those things, difficulty is just an internal dialogue. And if you are talking about fear, I'll categorize different fears and I'll tell you, but at this point, let's note this, that fear is our best friend.
But how you do, for example, it's like you have a fight between your emotion and what you think you know you have to do it, but you wake up today, you don't feel it, like you just want to do something else.
Absolutely. I want you to acknowledge this conflict. This is the war, isn't it? It's a war of the internal dialogues. First, acknowledge it. Acknowledge that yes, I am having this war within me. There is an internal dialogue which is continuously in conflict. Because once you acknowledge, this is the point, you are aware of it. Let's say you are in a war zone. How will you react in a war zone? You have to react, isn't it? You have to respond, you have to be active, you have to simply react. Are you thinking when you are in the middle of the war zone? You will react, you will respond. Immediately, instinctively you will react. You will not get the time to think. Now let's say the same war zone is happening somewhere down there. You are standing on a mountain somewhere. How do you think your resourcefulness would be? You are seeing at the same thing, but now you have response time. You will respond differently. So most of the time in that war zone that is happening in our mind, we are simply reacting, responding. That is known as reactive behavior. So with all these processes, we are looking at jumping from reactive behavior to proactive behavior. So at this moment, Amira, I want you to acknowledge that this is there in my mind. This is the conflict. This is the war that I am in. Okay? And with that, you will notice there are different branches of that. This war is good, this war is bad, this war is this, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. At the moment, let's acknowledge all those things. I have an internal dialogue. I am overwhelmed. I am overthinking. I am having these conflicts in my head. Acknowledge it all. Yes, it is there, it belongs to me. I am overthinking. There is a process, I am in the middle of the war. Now what do I need to do to simply shift from that dis-ease process to the ease process? That will be the journey, inshallah. At the moment, let's acknowledge. As I again, let me re-emphasize, it's all about steps also with the ingredients in the process. Okay, let's say step 1 is very, very essential at step 1. Most of the time, people come to me with different conflicts which are religious in nature, which are, against the system, against ABC, XYZ. In all those cases, it's all about, without teaching them the step 1, step 2, they simply put them on the step 10. And they are confused. They say, we never traveled that path and you are expecting us to simply be there. A good religious man or a very disciplined person or a morally correct person or whatever it is. It is step 10 maybe. You have to literally go through step 1, 2, 3, 4 first. Once you consistently practice it, it becomes the second nature. It literally becomes part of you. Most of the time people ask me, don't you get angry? I said that yes, there are two things in that same zone. Do you get angry or are you capable of getting angry? I said that I am capable of getting angry, but I don't feel the necessity of getting angry. Because anger will have different ranges of intensity. So once you become that person, you will notice that you are in the zone. You have mastered it, it becomes the second part of you. Of course, if situation requires, you will be able to, you are capable to do things, but you choose not to do. That's the whole zone life is all about, where I am not reacting, where I am not a reactive responder, but I am a proactive responder. I am acting, I am reacting, I am making choices consciously. So consciously made choice is absolutely different, and it literally affects your biochemicals accordingly, which we will discuss inshallah. So there is a physical thing which is flesh and bones. But the question is, are we just flesh and bones or are we more than that?
Much more.
Much more than that, isn't it? Yeah? Let's be interactive. So we are not just flesh and bones. Flesh and bones body, if we are just the physical body, then doctors would be enough, medical doctors. Because they have mastered the zone in such a way, they can cut you open, they can stitch you back, you are still alive. So physical zone is such. Doctors in medicine have advanced to that level. They literally operate you, cut you from anywhere, stitch you back from anywhere, and you are well. But we are more than that. The whole zone of all these existential reality is to come to the point to create ease in life. Whatever is difficult. Let's say you go to a doctor and he operates you. What is he trying to do? What is his intention? What is your intention to get operated? To create ease, to remove disturbances, let's say. So to create ease, to remove whatever is disturbing is the whole intention of all the existential realities that we are in. So let's say what comes into the physical dimension is all about what we eat, which is a very essential element. The first part, the step 1. Without eating, your body won't allow you to move and do anything. Your body will tell you, first eat whatever is empty. Let's call this eating or hunger as emptiness from today. So it's hunger, the vocabulary, the name that we have given is hunger. Let's call it simple as emptiness. So body will ask you to fill that emptiness first. Fill that emptiness first, then I'll allow you to be creative, productive, think anything, be happy, be joyful, whatever it is. So that's the first essential need and requirement. And as we are sitting here, as you are listening to me, that literally assures that everybody of us are sufficiently in feeding ourselves. That's why we are sitting here and thinking. Just imagine people who don't have food to eat, they are unable to think. It doesn't go to the next dimension. They are fully in the process of survival and to feed themselves. The whole day is all about how do I feed myself now and for the lunch and for the dinner or whatever, however times they eat. So once this emptiness is fulfilled, then it will allow you to move to the next dimension. So the first dimension is all about what you eat, how much you sleep, each and every cell of your body, which we call as germs. I want you to literally acknowledge and imagine that each and every cell of your body, trillions of cells, just animate them and imagine it like people. So there are trillions of people living in this body. Trillions of people. And the theme of those trillions of people is joy. They want to live in harmony. They want to live with happiness and joy. But sometimes there is a tumor somewhere, there is an ulcer somewhere, there is a disbalance somewhere, there is a frozen shoulder somewhere. That means that part of community is going through some disorder. Within the body, let's say, if you don't go out, within the body, there are so many processes that are happening right from the moment you eat an apple and that apple gets converted into blood, bone marrow, each and every cell of the body, and it becomes a human being actually. The intelligence, when an apple, you are eating an apple, it converts into murjan. You give the same apple to the cow, it becomes the cow. That's the intelligence that God has kept here. That intelligence should be at the surface most of the time. And the tragedy is such, we are still in the process of evolution, wherein we are bringing this consciousness to the surface. If this intelligence is there, this will develop the faith. This will develop that knowing that even though I'm putting my thoughts, my effort, my emotions to create certain things, but there are millions of things that are being created without me putting an effort. Yeah. After this, I'll give you one word and let's see how are the reactions for that. Clear till here? And then there is this spiritual dimension. All these dimensions are bridged to one another. One emptiness will affect the emptiness of the others. If there are emptinesses in any of these dimensions, it will affect the whole bigger existential reality. Let's say there is this physical dimension and we are very much aware that it has an immune system, let's say. In physical body, we have immune system, isn't it? Let's say if my immune system is strong, working at the peak,